Hi patrons, for this month I decided to do an arrangement of the Cole Porter standard I Love You, just because it's a fairly common standard. Actually I play it all the time, but I didn't make an arrangement of it yet, and also because there are a few things you can do with it that are sort of really nice, sort of elegant reharmonizations that really fit the song, are not really sort of forced upon it. Also something I think is really nice to have once in a while. And I also kind of set out to just try and take something that's a little bit faster, so it's not really like a slow medium, just a little bit more like a medium song, but still playable, not getting completely lost in having to play bass lines all the time, and just sort of mixing it up and finding a practical approach to that. So that's what you'll find in this arrangement, I guess. Let me see, I added an intro that I'm also using as an outro, something I do more often. It is kind of, when I made it, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the intro to, like a simple version of the intro to Round Midnight, because it's like starting on the sharp 4 and there's a bunch of 2/5 progressions. That's really why it reminds me of that. So it's fairly simple. So let me just cover that first, because that's of course the beginning of the piece. So this is really just playing like B half diminished, and then this melody on the E7 together with that one, then a different sort of, if you consider this a call, you get a response on the A half diminished D7 that follows. And one thing you'll see here is that I'm actually playing quite a few times with more anticipated, more syncopated rhythms than what I normally do. So that's also why you have the D7 on the 2 and already here, complete chord, then down to G half diminished, C7, and then the F major 7 that sort of becomes, how can you say that, like a voicing that I return to really a specific sound for the arrangement, because I'm playing this part of it and there's a different version of this one at the ending as well. That's sort of a nice way also just to introduce some new voicings. I really like these voicings for major 7 chords. And in this case you can really just add with your thumb you can just add the root under it, and it's just a nice, full, rich voicing to have here. Then we get the theme. So I think the main thing that's happening with I Love You is that it's sort of going back and forth between being minor and major 2/5s that are resolving to a major chord. So of course the song is in the key of F major. It has a little bit of an AABA kind of feel to the form, but isn't really. So it's Cole Porter. He's always messing around with things. So the first part is just G half diminished with a C in the melody, filling up with chords, going to the C7, and then up here just to harmonize that melody as well. So of course I'm kind of staying down with here, like a way of playing that so that the melody can actually stay ring here, and then up here to harmonize this because I'm moving my hand. Then we get sort of the first nice reharmonization, or in a way I think this is probably a part of the original arrangement as well actually. So you get this diminished suspension, so I think strictly speaking you would call this a B diminished with F in the bass. But of course it's also just an F diminished resolving to an F major 7, so really just like a sharp 4 diminished resolving to the tonic. That's really what's happening here. Then a 2/5 to take us back, and then the first one we had, of course, 2/5 was a minor 2/5, so now it's going to be a major 2/5, but still going to F, starting on the A here in the melody, in the pickup, and then here I've added some extra notes, so some extra movement in there, because I'm using the line cliché to take me to the C7, so that's sort of built into that 2/5 essentially. And then from here it comes out on the 6, which is also a really nice sound, so the 6 in the melody on the tonic chord, and I'm adding this F major 7 under it, so like an F major 7 13, moving up to B flat 7 to take me to A minor 7, to D7, and then we get essentially the same as the first 2/5, so now again a minor 2/5 to F, so G half diminished, but here I'm skipping down to immediately playing the chord here, because I want to add a D flat 7, so just like a tritone 2/5, an extra 2/5 to take me to the C7. Again, kind of trying to keep that D flat ringing, so it's sort of moving while this stays ringing. And then we get the same thing as the first time. So the diminished chord to the C7 flat line. Diminished suspension. And then from here it modulates to the third degree as a major chord. So in this case the third degree of F is of course A. So we go to A major. And that's just a 2/5. I'm actually playing it as a major 2/5. I think you could also play it, in some songs it's a little bit more smooth to actually use a minor 2/5 and then go to major as well. But here I'm actually just playing the major 2/5. Then we get this, there's a lot of movement here in the first part. This is a turnaround in A major. So first this A major 7 chord. F sharp minor 7. And then kind of just staying with the B minor 7, same as the first time. Moving up because the melody moves up quite high now, so up to the D. Up to E7, we need an E7 of course, taking us to the A major 7 here. So A major 7 in this case, you have a long stretch of that A major 7, and I'm sort of opening that up by playing a rhythmical pattern that's just moving through the bar like that. So, and then it sort of just skips back to F by doing this, which is I'm playing this G minor 7 11 with the F in the melody to C7, and then the melody again goes to F major 7, and with the major 7 in the melodies I'm adding this under it, which is essentially again just a diminished suspension, but playing it like this is a little bit easier, and actually also just a nice change, like instead of having this sort of very straight ahead diminished sound, have this E major triad with an E in the melody though, but over the F, and then resolving that. A half diminished. And then here, I think the original changes would actually have it go to a G7 here, but I turned it into a D flat 7 just because then I have a different bass note than the melody. Otherwise you have like the G in the melody and then the bass. And here I'm just sort of keeping the whole thing going with just repeating the chord. And then to C7 to take us back to what to me sounds like the last A. So that's here where we have kind of this being the ending of the bridge, even though it's a little bit vague if the second 8 bars is really an A part. But it still has, to me, it kind of has an A-B-A feel to it. So coming out after after the bridge, another way to harmonize the first part of the first melody, so this part, is to actually play that as a 4 minor cadence. So I'm playing it here as B flat minor 7 with a 9, and then skipping down to this, which is just a B flat minor triad. But then also because it's simple, there are a few notes and it's a little bit heavy and dark, I can use it like another line cliche to take me up to the E flat 7. And then here I'm just doing the same thing as before, but not harmonizing with this because it's a different chord, so I'm not adding any note or any chord here. And then you're gonna get again the diminished suspension. And then because it's the last time, with the bass it moves down to D7. And then here I block harmonized this part of it. I guess mostly the dominant chords get block harmonized in this song. So first, just stating the chord, and then because that's easy just to lay this finger here, we have a flat 13 and a sharp 9, because the B flat, so the flat 13 is in the melody, and then a diminished. And then it moves up to the 5 of 5, but it goes, that would be the melody, right? And here I'm harmonizing that. So just sliding in from below with an F sharp 7 or a G flat 7, whatever you want to call that. and then G minor 7 with a 9. And then here, instead of going to F, I'm going directly back to the intro, or in this case, then the outro, with a slight variation. And that's really just the same as the last time. And then the final chord is the same, but now with that high E in there as well, so just arpeggiating all 6 strings. It's a really beautiful chord. And then for a different sound, I'm sort of strumming it down here with my nail, just to get like a different sound out of the guitar from picking it with my fingers. So you have a few different ways of adding notes to, or adding chords to the different 2/5s. Both like the line cliche stuff on the major 2/5s that I'm using, and also adding some extra dominance to the minor 2/5s as a part of just adding some color to this song, which is anyway, I mean, it's a super beautiful song. Actually, I was playing with a singer who told me that the song came about as a bet with somebody else who told Cole Porter that he could not write a song with I Love You, and I think one of the other lyrics in there as well. And then he went away and wrote this in an afternoon. So just to prove that he could, which kind of like this. I don't know so much about Cole Porter, but I think it actually fits with what I know about him. I have to check out. There must be a biography somewhere that I can check out about this. But that's a nice story at least. So I hope you find this useful. Of course, as always, if there's anything you have any questions on with these chord melody arrangements, then just let me know about that in the comments, and I'll try and help you out. If you have suggestions for other songs you should try and do, then let me know about that as well, of course. Because this is the first of 2023. And actually now every time, and I guess I do that every year when I'm looking at like all the different arrangements that I've done since 2017, it's a very extensive library. So there's a lot of stuff, and there's actually a lot of songs that I have done also. But there are also a few famous ones that I haven't done yet. So don't be afraid to ask about those as well. And probably I'll also maybe just throw some of them in there along the way this year. But yeah, let me know about that. And for the rest, looking forward to 2023 and to a lot more arrangements. And I'll see you next month.